being named on day 2. This is day 2 after the arrival of all forms 34A. It is our submissions and my hypothesis that any person, and nowadays there are so many books that you can read anywhere and you can buy anywhere that says how do you rig elections. If one was set out to rig an election such as this one, then one of the most important variable would be the voters register. And in this case, it is our submission that the fact that on day 1, 6 hours after the election, we were not told in a controversial manner, and after Kenyans have invested in a technology, that this number of people voted, this opened the system in the subsequent verification process to the kind of abuse that more other able people in that area have spoken about today. But that, on the face of it, appears to be where the opportunity arose. I go to the issue of still at stage 1, the issues of the nomination. We have said in our affidavit that for purposes of Article 99 of the Constitution, the presidential candidates were supposed to be subjected to qualifications under Article 99. The manner in which that was done for purposes of presidential election, the second respondent was actually not subjected to it, and at the end of the day, persons with unresolved questions under Chapter 6 is today Deputy-elect of the Republic of Kenya, arising out of the failure of IEBC to enforce the law. The next issue is the publication of a Gazette notice number 9540 on 8th of August. This Gazette notice in our submissions was an instrument of illegality. My learned colleague, Mr. Nyambodi, says that IEBC chairman is always inclined to produce Gazette notices even where none is required. I read it differently. If you read Gazette notice as an instruction manual, it makes a lot of sense. In this sense, that in the ordinary scheme of things, and particularly when I was working in the human rights movement, when you deal with a lot of police officers and other people on those junior ranks, this activity will be carried this way. They'll not tell you the Penal Code says this, the Police Act says this. They will tell you the forces standing order, which they are socialized to understand, says this. So this was the forces standing orders. So that for purposes of the day when this verification was being carried out under this, what we are calling stage 2, it was being, and it was published on the eve of the election. There is also the bad faith that on the eve of the elections, you publish such kind of a Gazette notice that runs directly counter to the Constitution. Why would anybody do that in good faith? There was lack of good faith. Because in the Republic of Kenya, during my practice of a couple of years in public law, we are aware this is the kind of stuff that we present in constitutional division and the judicial review courts to confirm whether or not it complies with the constitutions or statute. Therefore, when you publish such a Gazette notice, an instruction manual that would be deployed during the verification exercise, and the following day is a public holiday, you cannot be taken to have been done that with the best of intentions. We go to stage 2, voting day. Voting day, the first violations as we talked about, not everybody entitled to vote under Article 138 in the presidential elections actually voted on account of non-compliance with the law by the IEBC. The second issue for purposes of that day, I've already talked about it, is a voters register. That on the elections day, and we have said 6 hours, you needed to know how many of us voted. The moment that information was not provided, the system and the process was exposed to anything could happen. And actually by the 15th of August, the worst, and all that could go wrong actually went wrong on the 15th of August. And therefore, this is why we are saying these violations were not just minor violations. They were violations that indeed went into the heart of what is before this court, the disputed elections. At stage 3,